Hi there. So we're going to use these lovely carousel molds again and something brand new to us. Elichem Designs Aquacast. It's an eco resin. It's a water activated casting compound. Now make sure you read the instructions. So it's 100 grams of powder to 35 grams of water, or 150 to 52 grams, 200 to 70 and 300 to 105. Now you can also, it says what you can add in the way of pigments to colour it, and also what you can also add in sand micas, dried shards of the aquacast itself. It also gives some instructions on working time, demold, how long it takes to cure, 60 to 90 minutes. So brilliant for quick projects, and then allowed to completely dry out of the mould for a good 24 hours. So couple of other tools I've got from previous eco resin adventures that I've done: a sieve and a whisk. Now I've just got some regular scales, and I'm using just a little dispensing cup thing we've got there, and I'm going to measure out the powder first. So I wasn't sure how much these molds would take. I'm doing the carousel mold, which is a follow-on from the previous carousel video, which I hope you've seen. If not, why not check out our playlist and you'll see it. In that one I used glitter, epoxy resin and chameleon mica powders, and they turned out beautifully. So we're going with, we've got just over 200 grams there currently. It was at this point I realised I didn't have my water to hand and still didn't know quite how this was going to go. I've zeroed the scale, and I'm going to add in the measurement as per their instructions and just see how it mixes. Although I say I'm going to, I didn't. I then put my much bigger bowl, zoom you out there so you can see. Sorry, you can see we've got quite a busy crafting space going on. Those eagle-eyed of you will see the gingerbread project. Hopefully you've seen that. That's gone out previous to this video. Beautiful, beautiful piece that was. So, sieving the powder. This was one of the recommendations that I've seen other YouTubers do. They sieve out the powder element of the eco resin. This just, again, goes to ensure you don't get any little lumps. There we go. So that's the 200 grams gone in, because, you know, a couple of grams would have got left behind in the sieve. Just re-establishing it, zeroing the scales, and I'm going to add in 70 grams of water. Yeah, so here we go, pouring in the water. You can't see the scale, but I am looking at it. 70 grams of water into 200 grams of powder. There. So to me, that doesn't look like anywhere near enough liquid to get to what I'm used to seeing in the way of an eco resin. You know, a sort of double cream sort of thickness, or heavy cream thickness if you're in the States, that sort of thing. So just popping, realised I hadn't got enough in there, popping a bit more in, and then just getting myself ready, psyched up at this point. I was so anxious about how this was going to be. To be honest with you, what happened was I poured in too much water, so I had to add another 100 grams of powder, which is what I'm now doing, in case you're wondering why she put the sieve back over the bowl. Honestly, this is how I can tell. I mean, this product was brand new to me. This is this eco resin one. I've not used eco resins for months and months and months. Wasn't feeling particularly confident, I must say. I think that's just me. I'm so used to just using regular epoxy resin, mica powders, glitters, that sort of thing. Bit of pigment in it, and, you know, it's done. This very much an unknown entity to me, and I just wasn't sure how it was going to go, because this is a new brand as well. I've used I haven't used their Aquacast. I've used their regular eco resin before, where you add a specific kind of liquid. So that other one comes in, the Elichem's eco resin comes in a powder part, and also a specific mix of liquid, so they send 2 parts to you. This is Aquacast, so this is just a powder that's then activated by adding water, ordinary water from out your tap. So I've now got enough powder to the liquid to the water ratio as per their mixing instructions. So we've now actually got 300 grams of powder, and I'm just whisking it in at this point, thinking, this is not the consistency I'm used to, and I've followed the instructions. That's not going to work. I don't know if I've gone wrong somewhere. I'm really hoping not. But as you can see, look, that's the thickness of royal or butter icing, something you spread on a cake, not something that's pouring cream consistency. So I decided to do something a bit rash. So I'm adding in some more water. I believe it does say on the packaging, adjust if you need to, but this is now coming into more of the consistency I'm used to using. I have to say though, the overall curing and the end result of this particular Aquacast it's great. It's the best eco-style resin I have used, and I've used Elichem's eco resin, I've used Hobbycraft's eco resin. Now this by far is the better one. There's a few bubbles there, as you can see, but those will go, because don't forget, with these kinds of projects, when you use any kind of eco resin, you've got to, I nearly said jiggle wiggle. Jiggle wiggle the moulds, lift them up, drop them, lift them up a little bit, drop them, lift them up, drop, tap, 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 tap. Again, shout out to Steve McDonald and his channel, Tappy Wappy. So doing that, give it a bit of a squidge, encourage it to get in. You're just encouraging this lovely Aquacast resin, eco resin, to go into all the details of the mould and to get any bubbles to come up to the surface. So that's and it is very white. That's the other thing to say. It's not off-white, it's not cream, it's white. So I would say that you definitely don't need to add any kind of white pigment into this. It'd be interesting to see how other pigments specifically for eco resins and this Aquacast actually colour into it. Do they go more pastel coloured shades, or do they remain as deep as they do in their container? So we'll have to see. We'll have a bit of a play in the new year and see how it goes. Make something easy like a trinket tray or something. So there's a few more bubbles on the top there. I'm just going to let it settle, and I'm going to pour it into the lid. So this is the lid part of the Carousel pot. Sorry, a little bit of an awkward angle there. So I've poured in a small amount. I'm going to lift it, drop it, give it a bit of a tap, bit of a shake, bit of a jiggle, squidge the underneath part, because there's a pointy part of the mould near the top. Just got that little hair there, getting rid of that. Give it a good squidge at the base to make sure that there's no air bubbles trapped. Again, this is still quite thick, so I'm still a little bit concerned that maybe it's not gonna pick up all the detail, or they're all going to get bubbles trapped. Oh, God, Laura, do you know what's going to happen here? I have to tell you, I was starting to perspire, or sweat, some people say. But as my mum told me, ladies don't sweat, pigs sweat, and ladies perspire or glow. That's it. Pigs sweat, men perspire, ladies glow. So I was glowing rather a lot at this point. Because I thought this is going to start setting up soon and it's going to be... Anyway, I made up enough. I made up some more again, and I poured it into the other mould that I had. And I had some left over, as usual, So I picked out some other moulds as well. One I've already demoulded, as you can see in the top left there. Lovely little tag or ornament, hanging ornament, Christmas ornaments, all those sorts of things. So look, here we go. It's cured. Now this was literally 90 minutes later, and any of the overpour there, just very carefully, and I mean carefully, you can flake it off with your fingers. Sorry about the overexposure there. We think we've now sorted this with a different cover on the lens on my camera. We film everything on our phones, by the way, on iPhones currently. We found that the easiest thing to do. But can you see that? It's picked up a lot of the lovely detail on those. Now, Is it going to work on these ballet shoes? I don't hold out a lot of hope. There's a lot of detail. I think possibly they're going to break. I know for sure that the B, spoiler alert, the B is not going to come out in one piece. But there we go. It does come out of the moulds quite easily. That was one definite plus point. But look at that. It's picked up the detail of the little laces on the tops of these. Got some pieces missing. That's probably just me, and because it already was starting to set up at this point. So that one actually I'm not going to bother trying to rescue. I do putting that in the bin. I don't like putting things in the bin. This is the B. Now I can already tell you at this point we're losing its little feelers or antenna, unfortunately. And its legs. There was, fracture, as you can see there. I'm not surprised at that at all. They are very fine detail in this mould. There we go. And as you can see, we've only got one leg. Well, look at that. Poor thing. So I make a big decision and I decide, actually, because it doesn't have all its legs and all its feelers, I'm going to take the others off. Ugh. Look at that. Never mind. Stuck in the mould. Remember to clean your mould out. It does just come out, and you can give them a wipe over if you want to. But there we are. Lots and lots of detail. It picked up all the detail in the body, the wings, the head. Looks stunning. Now, I have an accident. I'm just forewarning you here. I meant to do that bit with the leg. I break. Oh God, I break a wing. I actually break a wing. I couldn't believe it when it happened. I was trying to be so careful, but it just... Oh, it's going to come up at any moment. Wait for it. Oh God. You see, I can see that little bit still in there that needs to be got rid of. Oh, I do break the wing. Maybe I didn't show it, but I do actually break one of the wings off completely. No, I didn't show it. I chickened out. Decided not to. But yeah, one of the wings does break off, but it is, we just stuck it back on with some activated glue or some super glue, something that is suitable for eco resins or this Aquacast resin. And it did stick back on very nicely. So just demoulding the lid now. As you can see, can you see all those dried pieces coming off? And I've just realised I've ripped my gloves. Oh, there, look. That's a rather dirty thumb there. That's in a cotton glove that I use as well. So change your gloves. Better now. I've actually double gloved. I've got 3 pairs of gloves on at this point. The cotton gloves and 2 pairs of the pink nitrile ones. God, my hands were getting rather warm. But there we go. Back to this. Demoulding. There we go. Now, yeah. It's not taken in some parts of it. I should have spent a lot more time tapping the sides of the mould. We've got a few little holes underneath. But on the whole, all in all, it's not bad. Not bad for a first attempt, I didn't think at all. Now, we do have sealer that we're going to apply to these before we paint them. Although I also noticed the surface was very different from any other eco resin. All the other eco resins I've used have got and it feels porous on the surface. It's smooth, but it feels porous. You think, if I paint directly or decorate directly onto that, it's just going to soak down into it. Whereas this, it didn't feel like that. So there's obviously some different type of ingredients in the powder that gives it that effect. So I don't know. You might be all right if you don't seal these and then you want to paint directly onto them. Then again, I didn't want to take the risk. So I do actually put a sealant on it. I don't have the elichem sealant. I mean, you can buy it from them. I use the one that we have, which is made by Let's Resin, I believe, but I will show you it. So there we go. Just demoulding the base. Just want to see how much detail has actually has actually worked. How much detail has it picked up? Has it picked up the detail of the horses? I think it has. It's looking good. Oh, wow. Yeah. Look at that. So it's picked up quite a lot of the detail. I think some of the hooves might be missing and maybe some little bits of the tail on some of them. A bit rough around the bottom there. Of course, you can sand that smooth if you wish. Look at that. And I have to say as well, no fumes from this either, which is great. So that's the lid with the base. And it's not bad. I mean, there are a few rough patches on the lid. And I found that on the other one as well. We did demold the other one too. Now, we need to seal this. And we're going to seal it using a product. And we're going to seal it. We're going to do the base and the top. And that's the one, Gloss Sealer. And as per usual with all our videos, everything we've used in the video will be linked in the description box below. So this was a sealer. I've never used this sealer before either. I was just quickly trying to take the foil label off the top. So remember, Laura, be a bit more prepared. So I poured it in and it did resemble, you know, if you've ever mixed a little bit of PVA glue with water, it resembled that a bit. And these lovely little sponges did also come with the gloss sealer. Look at that. I mean, it's just... It doesn't feel like the same as any of the other eco resins. So you might be able to just get away with just popping a sealant on it or not, and then decorating it without the sealant on it. And then definitely do a little test patch if you've decorated it and then you're going to seal it. Do a little test patch first just to make sure it doesn't cause the paint or the mica powders or whatever you've used just to smudge, I think is the best word. So this is me with the world's worst paintbrush, it would appear. Why on earth did I use this? Trying to paint this. So I don't know if you've ever been to any of those places where you can pick a cup or a mug or a pot or a plate and then paint it yourself. But this is what this was reminding me of. Now, by the way, I did let the gloss sealer dry overnight. And then went in with this really awful paintbrush. I think they might have got a bit of resin on it at some point. And I'm using these lovely metallic paints that we've used in quite a few of our videos now. They're by Temu. They're stunning. Lots and lots of lovely colours to choose from. And realising that this is not going to be an easy job. It's going to take a while. Now, because of that, I'm not going to show you every little step. And obviously you don't have to do this. You can just use them, leave them as white. Or why not use the gilding flakes or the gilding sheets that you can get. You can get them in gold and silver and sort of lovely coppery bronze or rose gold colours. You can also get them in lots of other more vivid colours like greens and purples and blues, pinks and so on. Why not use those and use obviously the gilding adhesive. So you would paint the gilding adhesive on the parts where you want the gilding to be, the gilding sheets to be. Let it go dry till it's tacky. Follow the instructions on the label. Don't be impatient and wait Wait for it to go tacky. And then you apply your gilding sheets or gilding flakes and then you burnish them on. And then you brush off any of the excess. Now, the effect that would give on this kind of, using this Aquacast, I'm not sure. I would say practice, and then going for something that's got quite a bit of detail on it like this, if you're going to do gilding. Unless you're an absolute whiz with gilding, in which case doing that on this particular type of product or this particular mould with this kind of detail will be easy peasy for you. So this is me. I'm using a Scarlet Ready coloured metallic paint to try and do the saddles, and then I decide, you know what, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to use like a coppery colour to do the horses, which I then decide maybe wasn't the right move and I go back over it in gold. Honestly. But this was quite difficult. I mean, I've moved over to using, I moved away from using that awful paintbrush to using a micro brush. Now this was slightly easier, but again, really not straightforward. How designers and the people, those crafts people that paint on china, you know, the cups and the saucers, the dinner services, and back in like things like Royal Worcester and what's the other one? Oh, Royal Dalton, those kinds of, you know, brands and so on. The people, the talent they must have to be able to create those designs and hand paint them onto that kind of china and porcelain. My gosh, I mean, mine looks awful. But this was my first go at doing this, and it's something that I'm not used to doing. I'm not somebody that would normally paint this kind of, if you were painting this kind of a picture or drawing it, I wouldn't normally go for this. If I'm going to do painting, it's going to be abstract. It's going to be all about the colour and the effect and a bit about the composition, and then you see what you want to see in it. It will be a piece that when it's finished, it will remind people of different things. They will see different things in it. But for me, it will all then be about shape and colour and coordination and that whole thing that is abstract. So there we are, waffled enough. I've done my best, she says, with the base, and decided then to leave it alone. Now to do the top. Now I thought, you know, just to stick with the gold, and I paint these sections here all along the tops with the lovely gold. Now this, I will say, it takes 2 coats. You only see me do 1. When it dries, it didn't give an even coverage, and it wasn't the rich deep gold that I wanted. So I let it dry completely anyway, and then I went back in and I did another coat of the gold. I also did the same with the horses. And can you see what I mean? It's there against the epoxy resin ones that we've done in the previous video. Don't forget to go and check that one out. But that was as far as I was going to go. I didn't do the other one. I decided not to. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I promise I will do better in the future. I will have another go with this kind of material, this Aquacast by Elichem, in the new year. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And happy festive crafting. See you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.